Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful and honestly haunting novels of the 20th century, Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. It's a story that's deeply personal, almost like a memoir, and it gives us this unforgettable look inside the human mind as it starts to fracture. And to get it, we have to start with its central metaphor. Right from the jump, you get hit with a line like this. It's stark, it's unsettling, and it perfectly, chillingly captures the suffocating feeling at the very heart of the story. This quote is our doorway into the world of our protagonist, a young woman named Esther Greenwood. So let's meet Esther. On paper, her life is everything a young woman in the 1950s was supposed to want. She's a top student. She's won this incredible internship at a magazine in New York City. I mean, a perfect future seems totally locked in. But as you can see here, the reality she's living is a whole other story. Underneath that shiny surface, there's just this crushing emptiness, a feeling of being totally alone, and this creeping dread that she just can't shake. Okay, so the first part of the book drops us right into that summer internship in New York. This is supposed to be the big prize, right? The reward for all her hard work. But instead of feeling thrilled, all she feels is this immense pressure and this deep sense of phoniness all around her. And you have to remember the context here, the 1950s. Society basically handed women an invisible checklist for life. You marry well, you become the perfect wife and mother, you value your purity, and whatever you do, you push down any real intellectual ambition. Esther feels this conflict so deeply. She has this brilliant, curious mind, but the world keeps screaming at her that what she should really want is a husband and a nice kitchen. And as her summer in New York starts to unravel, so does her grip on reality. This is the point in the story where that central, powerful metaphor really starts to take shape. This is where the bell jar begins its slow, silent descent over her. So what exactly is the bell jar? Well, it's so much more than just sadness. It's this thick, distorting glass that comes down and traps Esther inside. It separates her from everything and everyone. She can see the world happening out there. She can see people breathing and laughing. But she's trapped inside with her own sour, stale air, completely numb and unable to connect. And this, right here, this is the famous fig tree analogy. And it just brilliantly explains the paralysis she feels. She imagines her life as this fig tree, with every possible future, poet, professor, world traveler, wife, mother, dangling like a ripe fig. And she wants all of them, desperately. But the pressure to pick just one is so overwhelming that she can't move. She just sits there, starving, as every single one of those potential futures withers and dies on the vine. After the internship is over, Esther goes back home to her mother's house in the suburbs. And this is where things truly begin to shatter. The glitter and noise of New York are gone, but that internal collapse just speeds up with terrifying momentum. You can really see on this timeline how it all just snowballed. It was like a domino effect. First, a rejection letter from a writing course she'd pinned her hopes on. Then, a horrifying, botched round of electroshock therapy from a doctor who barely seemed to care, which only deepens her trauma. She can't sleep, she can't write, she can't connect with anyone. It all leads to this desperate, final attempt to just escape the bell jar for good. But Esther survives. And the final part of the novel shifts. It moves from that terrifying descent into her time in a psychiatric institution and the slow, incredibly painful process of trying to find her way back to the world. It's not a triumphant return. It's a cautious, fragile rebirth. And what's so important here is that the book refuses to give you some easy, miraculous cure. Recovery isn't a single event. It's a series of small, fragile steps. With the help of a new, compassionate female doctor and proper treatment, Esther slowly begins to process her trauma. It's not a simple happily ever after, not by a long shot, but it is an ending with a tiny glimmer of hope for the future. Now, to really understand why The Bell Jar is such a landmark book, we have to zoom out from the story itself and look at its real-world context and its incredible, lasting legacy. Because this book didn't just tell a story. It blew the doors open on a conversation that desperately needed to be had. The novel was first published in the UK, actually, under a fake name in 1963. But the timing of that publication, well, it's absolutely crucial to understanding its power and its tragedy. And there it is, the devastating fact that hangs over this novel. The parallels between Esther's story and Sylvia Plath's own life are impossible to ignore, and her tragic death, just 1 month after the book came out, forever cemented The Bell Jar as this raw, brutally honest, and profoundly personal work of art. So, why are we still reading and talking about this book all these decades later? Well, because it did things that few books had dared to do before. It gave a powerful voice to the silent struggles of women, making it a cornerstone of feminist literature. It ripped back the curtain on the terrifying reality of depression, helping to destigmatize something people were terrified to even whisper about. And its unflinching honesty? That's why it feels just as urgent and relevant today as it did back in 1963.
And in the end, the book leaves us with this haunting, unresolved question. Esther is about to walk out of the institution back into the world, but the threat isn't gone. The bell jar might be lifted for now, but the book never promises it's gone for good. It leaves us with the possibility of a life lived in the shadow of recovery, forever asking that very question. If the bell jar can be lifted, can it descend again?